Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name's Helen Noble, celebrant of Surrey, founder of Swansong and co-founder of the Healthy Marriage Success course. I give you weekly insights and wisdom into all things ceremony, usually weddings, but I'm always here if you want to talk about funerals or namings. This week I'm talking public speaking as well as public signs of affection. Does it just make you go eek? Or are you one of those people like, yeah, totally fine, I talk in front of people all the time, but then actually, are you? So, talking in public. For some people, it's a no-brainer. They do it all the time for work. They're thinking presentations. Can you see the cat? It's just drying herself off. It's pouring cats and dogs outside, so apologies if you can hear it. Anyway, so public speaking. Some people doesn't bother, water for ducks buck. Other people dread it, wouldn't dream of it. No, thank you very much. And the fact that they're even having to think about it for the wedding is filling you with dread. And other people, it hasn't actually crossed their mind that maybe they're going to have to, because you might not be doing a speech. You might not even have to do a toast. But if you're doing a ceremony and you're thinking, well, I do want to do a ring exchange, something needs to be said. All right, I do want to do some vows, something needs to be said. In a marriage, if you're going to the registrar office, you have to say your vows, because the vow where you give your word is the legally binding contract. That's why you have your witness, they have their witness, and the registrar has their witness. That person, whenever time you go to a registrar-led wedding, you think, who is that other person at the desk? That is the registrar's witness. Because you're giving your word. Back in the day, before people could read and write, you were as good as your word. Your word was your contract. And that's also why they can charge you for your wedding certificate. Because if the fire alarms go off after you have said, I do, you are legally married. Sign the contract just shows it to the other people that aren't there. So that's, I think it used to be £7. I think it's about 21 now. I think it's tripled in price since I got married. And always buy 3 copies. Just buy 3 copies. Legally, the marriage certificate belongs to the bride. I don't know when it's gay couples who it legally belongs to. I'm going to find that out. But in heterosexual couples, the marriage certificate is the property of the wife, because they were historically the ones that changed their names. Therefore, they were the ones that had to have a certificate to prove their change of status. You know, they became Mrs. You know, chaps. Nothing changes for you. So that is why the bride would have owned the marriage certificate. I digress. But when you have a registrar-led wedding, you must speak. You can't get out of it. You have to speak. My couples that I do a lot of couples that just the dread. I've got really a split. I've got some couples that absolutely are hugely extrovert and literally could dance down the aisle, and other couples that the very thought of a wedding is filling them with dread. I kind of get 2 extremes. I quite like that, keeps me on my toes. So the registrar-led marriage, you cannot get out of. You have to speak. It is a set text. You can practice. You need to make a bit of an effort and go down there and say, can I have the script or can I choose the script? They don't tend to let you see the script. You get a choice, A, B or C, but it'll be on the day. It'll be in that 15-minute window before your marriage when they go, so here's the script, which one do you want? But actually you just need to say those 2 sentences, which are the legally binding bits, that you're proclaiming that you are willfully marrying, that I will, that you're not doing it under duress, it's not being forced, there is free will at play here. That's a one you have to say. And the other one is that you know no lawful impediment why you can't be married. You know, you haven't got a husband in the cupboard. So that has to be said. For me, you don't have to. Obviously, I love embracing the freedom that a ceremony led by a celebrant can give you, and I will really support you in vow writing. We will do practices, we can do all these sorts of things. But if you genuinely are like, no, I've done the marriage, I've done my bits, I no longer want to speak, there are ways of doing that. Now, I've had couples do it the next morning and say what they want to each other, completely out of public view. I've had couples that I have said, you now come to the wedding vows, not marriage vows, the wedding vows, where you exchange what kind of partner you want to be and what kind of partner you are and what kind of partner you want. That hope, you're standing there hopeful of a happy life together forever and always, amen type thing. But some couples really don't want to do it. So I've had couples literally turn away from the guests and just say it to each other in a really private way. It happened like the coronation. So if you're a bit of a royalist, I had a couple that like absolutely loved the Queen. They were like, if it's good enough for Queenie, it's good enough for us. That they absolutely caught on to that bit. Obviously it wasn't Queenie, it was Charles getting coronated. At the coronation there was that bit where they put the screens on, and that actual contract between him and, he believes, God anointing him to be the monarch, blah 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 blah, was sacred, was private, was the relationship between him and his God, was not for public listening, for public viewing. And I do that at ceremonies for those couples that are saying, do you know what, 90% of our wedding, 90% of our marriage even, is with friends and family and kids and nieces and uncles and neighbours. Like, they're so sociable and connection is a huge value of theirs. But they're saying, actually, do you know what, just that 10%, that is ours and we don't want to share it. We don't want to share that bit. And I hear you, I see you, I design the wedding around you. And so we do have almost that coronation moment where they step aside. Sometimes we've got a beautiful flower arch and they're behind that. Sometimes they just face each other. Sometimes I stand in front as the barrier and just, I just say to everyone, can you just hold them in your hearts whilst they make their promises privately to each other? And it's so powerful. I get a little bit like, oh my God, this is so special. So don't think that you're chickening out. Don't think that it's not good enough. Don't think some people are going to think, well, that was a bit of a half job. You didn't even say your vows. Who cares? You're sharing 90% of everything anyway. If that 10% is for you, so be it. And if it's good enough for the king, it's good enough for you. So don't not have a wedding because you don't want to talk in public. There are ways of making it work, and I know how to do that. And I have made it work, and people have done it and they have loved it. I've done it in other ways. We've done it symbolically through candles, and I've done the reading and said, so therefore can you light your candle? And they exchanged their light for each other, which symbolises their word and their promise. You could do it in a hand fasting, but there is a lot more talk in that. That's quite a chatty affair. And I've done it with letters, where they have exchanged letters, and rather than read it to each other, they have read the message from the other person. I've also done it in a different language. So the couple, both of them had a native tongue from their ancestry, and one of them was just a linguist, so could just speak a ton of languages. But they grew up in the UK, they went to English schools, none of their mates spoke another language. So I said, what language do you both understand? They're like, oh, we both speak Swedish, actually, which was a random one because no one in their family was Swedish. And they did their vows in a completely different language to everybody else sitting in the room. And it was so good because they could still declare it, and you could still hear the tone, you could still see the emotion, and the other half could still receive it. And people knew that, oh, they're saying something lovely, but it was private. I'm sure there was the odd person in the room that might have understood it, but they got the message. They realised, you know, it wasn't necessarily for sharing. What they were sharing was the festivities and celebration of their union, but their marriage is between them, and their marriage vows they made with the registrar that they had to say. And a lot of people just go and do their 2x2, as in them and their witness, and nobody else. And then on the day we do all those things, or some of those things, or none of those things. So just bear that in mind. The other one to watch out for is when you are slightly overconfident in talking. You're like, oh, I give presentations all the time. Yeah, I speak at work. Oh, I train. Blah, 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 blah. It's very different when you're not the organizer or you're not the event holder. You are the person. And so actually, when someone introduces you and you have to get up and speak, you're like, oh. But it's not as if you're speaking about a product. It's not as if you're speaking about a vision that the company sees. You're speaking about your heart and soul with your loved one and how you hope your life will play out. A wedding's got to be personal. It's nothing other than the something. The something is that wedding is personal. If you have a celebrant. If you're not bothered, just have a registrar and it will look like a carbon copy of every other wedding you've been to. And it'll be pleasantly forgettable. And for some people, they're happy. They're like, do you know what? The wedding can be pleasantly forgettable because they're just keeping their other half happy. And obviously those clients aren't my clients. And aren't you here joining me? Because you all care. So don't fear speaking. Don't not have a wedding because of your fear of speaking. But also don't assume that you can totally wing it and speak, because your nervous system and the words you're going to say in the situation you're in isn't one you've been in before, and the body likes familiarity. That is why I do rehearsals. The other public displays of affection can be the other thing. Some people are like, yeah, we're not going to do the kiss. Some people don't want to practice the kiss. Some people just won't do the kiss. Some people be like, oh, what should we do instead of the kiss? And I was like, hug or shake hands or whatever. And absolutely every single time there will be a kiss. But because they know they don't have to kiss, it takes the pressure off. I had one couple that were absolutely, they don't hold hands. She's like, I actually sleep with a mask on and earphones. Like she's not sharing her senses in any way. She's like, nope. And she was not up for a big kiss with me going, and you may now kiss your bride. She's like, no, not having that. And we're like, okay, no problem. And we'll design it to keep the energy and to keep the excitement of them finishing their vows or whatever it is they want to do. But she was like, yeah, but I'm not going to do the kiss. I was like, it's fine. And then on the day, I was kind of, the husband was like, I'm totally giving you a kiss. And he just kind of went, oh. And it was really good fun. And she blushed and she was a little bit mortified, but she was grinning from ear to ear. And that's that lovely bit that just is between the couples, because they know what they're going to be like. And they know when it feels right to do so. And if it doesn't feel right to do so, they don't do it. But that is the freedom you have with the celebrant. So thank you for joining. Keep turning up here weekly and know that if you value freedom, you can embrace freedom in a celebrant-led wedding. And if you have a vaguely creative mind and want a little bit of energy at your wedding, then obviously if you're in the UK and Surrey, I'm here. And if not, you can always fly me out. But embrace it. Think about what you want and we will find a way. There will be a way to keep you happy. All right, lots of love. Take care for now. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell. Take care. Bye-bye.